Okay, welcome to week 11, ladies. I wanted to circle back to our breath work, what we learned in week 1 and 2, and learn the day in and day out style of breath work instead of there's psychedelic breathing, which is going to help unblock a lot of traumas, which we dealt with that in the beginning, was very intense. I want to walk you guys through what a daily breathwork session would look like. And it's not going to be as intense and as dramatic and emotional, hopefully, at this point. I do tend to have some traumas that unblock when I'm doing my daily breathwork in the morning. And that's just all about peeling the layers of the onion. So whether it's been stress induced or triggered in some other way with just my daily life, sometimes I can release blocked energy in just a very easy, smooth, relaxing breath work in the morning. So I want to walk you through one of my favorites, and they're going to do a number of different styles of breathing. A couple that I can tell you are there's alkaline breathing, which is in the nose and out the mouth. That is all that is involved. So it's just like that. One that I had to take a little bit of practice in doing is called breath of fire. And that is a push of your breath out with a contraction of your core. So it's and a natural inhalation just kind of happens. It's not anything that I do intentionally. It's just a reaction to the sudden push of air out from our abdomen. And then it naturally makes your nose, it's all through the nose, pull in air. So this is what it looks like. And sometimes they'll have you doing it double time. So it's and don't overthink it. It's just something that you can't really get wrong. I think sometimes we can overthink things. There's another one called shamanic breathing, and that is belly, chest out, and it's through the mouth. So it's belly. When I say belly, it's like it goes down into the belly. So it's like that. Just like that. And I usually use just the mouth. Sometimes if my nose isn't clogged, which sometimes it is, especially in the morning, I'll have to go blow my nose and I'll be able to complete the breath work the way it's intended. But if you can't do it through your nose because you're either stuffed up or another reaction can be it starts to burn because you're pulling so much oxygen through your nasal passage and through your sinuses that it'll start to have a little bit of a burning sensation. I can push through that, but if that's something that makes it extremely uncomfortable and distracting for you, then do not worry. Just go in the nose or in the mouth, out the mouth instead of in the nose, out the mouth. There's a circular breathing, which is in the mouth, out the mouth, in a circular motion. So there's not going to be really a pause of any kind. So it's and it's through the core. Just like that. And so really you can't get these wrong. And I'm going to add into the homework section of this lesson. I'm going to give you the link to the YouTube channel that I think has some of the best breathwork sessions and rounds I have ever done. There's one called Breathwork Beats, and then there's one that's called Breathing with Sandy, and they do cross promote each other. So you may be on the breathwork beats, but then you may be clicked on a video that's got Sandy in it. So I am going to put that link in there. I'd love for you to explore that. And those were just a few of the different style of breathing, but there is so much more. They talk you and walk you through it. And then you'll get so good at it that you'll just be able to hear them doing the breathing, because you're going to close your eyes and you're just going to kind of let the breathing take you into the fourth dimension. It's going to take you into out of this three-dimensional world and this physical, and you're going to lose sensation of your body. Sometimes your ears might start to burn. You might get tingly all over. I get different reactions at different times. And then there's these breath holds. So the breath holds are really interesting, and I make it a goal of mine to be able to hold my breath longer and longer. The longest I've been able to hold my breath at this point with a breath hold after oxygenating your body is 1.5 minutes. And I've worked really hard to get to that point. I do know a couple of people, friends of mine, colleagues of mine, that are at 2 minutes and sometimes 2.5 minutes. It's amazing. And you will actually get some visions. There will be out of body experiences where you cross over into the fourth dimension. And it's a really beautiful centering feeling. How many times are we worried about something that hasn't even happened yet? We have that anxiety. We have fear, which is, false evidence appearing real. And we can get so wrapped up in the future what ifs, right? Or what happened, and reliving that as if it's happening again and again and again. And we can beat the drum of that. And what breath work does is it helps relax and suppress that parasympathetic nervous system that is our fight, flight, or freeze. That is the reaction that we have. And we don't want to do any of those. We want to be able to stay aligned, feel centered, feel grounded. If that's, you have to walk outside barefoot for a while, walk out in nature, take deep breaths of that fresh air. Doing breath work, I often, if I am dealing with something has been triggered, or there's a stressful time in my life, which I've got a lot of moving parts. So I naturally have to I do breath work every single morning just to keep those things at bay. And what that's doing for me is it's helping me stay focused on the task at hand. And I have so many tasks at times where I feel like I get none of them done. And so breathing is one of those things where it's just like, okay, just get here, right here in the moment, and then tackle what your next task is. Be able to check that off your list. I get overwhelmed and froze. So that is a really helpful way to do that, to set you up for success so you don't get into that fight or flight, freeze mode. Or if you are, it helps get you out of that. And so I'm loving breath work. I think it is an extremely important part of your daily routine and daily practice, along with right after breath work, naturally goes very well into meditation. So if you struggle with getting into meditation, breath work and the prompts that you don't have to think about, you don't have to create the prompts. They're there. Breathwork Beats is a great channel to walk you through really long, maybe 8-round sessions with 1 minute to 2.5 minute breath holds if you've got the time and you really need that kind of intense breath work. Or if it's just a tune-up or a maintenance breath work session, you can do something for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Anything is better than nothing. So I highly encourage you to click on that link and explore that website or that YouTube channel, because it has absolutely been phenomenal. And I'll put more links of certain breath work sessions that I've personally done that I keep going back to, because I absolutely get the most out of those. And the way I feel, the way it makes you feel after you've done a breathwork session, there are not words to describe it. And if you're really struggling with staying focused, or anxiety, panic attacks, high blood pressure, even, there's so many physiological things that can happen to you when you're really high strung and stressed out. and kind of spinning. And this really helps bring you back to center, which is what our goal is, because everything else in your world is going to go so much smoother. Your relationships, your job, your health and fitness journey, which we are dealing with all in this 16-week path to freedom, because we do not want to be bound to any trauma. There's trauma bonds that we have with people that hurt us, but then they ended up being the one that consoled us, and we have a trauma bond to them. Maybe we're not in that person's lives anymore, they're not in ours, but there's still the trauma bond there. And it's important that we break that trauma bond. And in the future weeks, I'm going to walk you through a cord cutting ceremony, which is going to, be some very deep work, but is necessary because we've been through a lot of life, and a lot of people have come and gone, and the people that have gone are not fully gone. And so if we can just say goodbye in love and hold no resentment, no bitterness, no anger, but only love, and really release them and cut that cord. If there's somebody that you've slept with and been in a marriage with, or any kind of relationship, maybe it was a boss or a coworker or a business partner or a parent, there's just bonds that are not healthy, that we still have these attachments. And so that cord cutting ceremony has been amazing for me. I've been able to do that with one of my ex-husbands. I'm doing another one here coming up with another ex-husband, realizing it's been forever ago that we were together, and I thought I was past a lot of stuff, but you don't realize it until some things trigger you and they get brought up, which is the other layers of the onion getting peeled down. And I always want to grow deeper. It's not like I feel like, okay, I need to get rid of all this so I don't have to do this anymore. I'm always going to be coming across things. I'm always going to be having something to work through and dig deeper and come into my power, tap into my highest self. And I've lived a lot of life. I've lived so many lives that there's cord cutting ceremonies that I need to do with ex-boyfriends that I had maybe in between marriages that I need to address. And so it's a process, it's a work in progress, because we can't do it all at once. But it's as those things come up, what do we do with that? And these are the tools that I'm giving you to know what to do with that anxiety and depression and panic attacks and fear. And then what's happening to us when we get triggered based on maybe a past relationship with someone. So those triggers are really powerful and can get us stuck. The wounded energy that we have inside us can then trigger physiological issues. It could make us hold on to body fat. It could keep us from progressing in our bodybuilding journey. It can keep us from getting well in an area of maybe disease. And so it's really important that we work on these things emotionally, and we just clean house and keep cleaning house. And there are times where it's going to feel really clean. And there are times where it's going to be like, how did this get so dirty type of feeling? And it's just going to be you digging deeper, and it's a journey. And to be able to fall in love with that journey and appreciate and love yourself through those moments is what it's all about. And that is going to give you a quality of life that no other human being on the planet can give you, just you. And that's finding that soulmate within yourself. And that's why we are here. There's people here for fitness and health, people here for business and finances. There's people here for relationship and romance, and maybe in marriages that are struggling, and you're trying to figure out how to show up in your relationship. But there's all this junk that you got to sift through, and sifting through that junk is extremely important in clearing that wounded energy and that blocked energy. So that breath work is just, and feel free to explore more and more other types of breath work that I have not mentioned here in this video. I was able to give you a few different ones, but if you can nail those, then the rest will kind of just be very easy to follow and learn. And you'll have a different experience every single day with maybe even the same session, but you show up differently and dig deeper. And that's what's beautiful about this whole process. And if we can unblock those things, then we're going to unblock wounds that have kept us from making the money that we think we deserve and we do deserve and are worthy of. Taking that step maybe in the relationship that we're in, or making that decision with our health and fitness, it is all intertwined. It's all encompassing. This is a holistic approach to our health and wellness and our whole quality of life and relationships and the money that we make, and what we think we're worth. There's just so much more deep. So it goes deeper than just the number in our bank account. And so I wish you all well. Let me know what you think about the breath work. I'm very excited to get your guys' feedback.